The national electricity grid collapsed again on Tuesday, plunging millions of people into darkness. The latest incident comes barely 24 hours after electricity distribution companies across the country announced the grid collapsed around 6:48 p.m., resulting in the loss of power supply across their networks. According to the discos, efforts are reportedly underway to restore power, but the recurring collapses have sparked frustration among citizens and businesses already struggling with inconsistent power supply. To discuss this, we're joined by Managing Director, Idfon Power Engineering Consultants Limited, Idowu Oyebanjo. Good evening, Idowu. Thank you for joining us on the news.
And regards to our viewers and listeners, yeah.
All right, so can you speak to us on the root causes of the second grid collapse within 24 hours? How is it different from the first incident?
Yeah, thank you. When there is a grid collapse, it means what we call blackout, and the system is down. It has to be restored gradually, and sometimes through a black start. But while you are doing the restoration, something else can go wrong. Another fault, a misalignment somewhere, and that will lead to another collapse. So that they call a partial collapse, such an event. But in any case, we always have grid collapse in Nigeria. And we have discussed many times how to resolve the problem. First and foremost, a grid collapse occurs when there is a mismatch in demand and supply. So the amount of generation and the amount of demand. This can cause a frequency imbalance. The frequency can go over the set frequency of the system, which is 50 Hz, or under the frequency. Either way, it can lead to a cascade of failures. And once these things are to happen, then the entire grid will go down. But this shouldn't be happening again in this day and age in our national grid, based on available technology and technical systems that are already supposed to be in place in Nigeria.
Okay, now I agree with you on that, and you did talk about faults and misalignments, being the probable cause for the second collapse. But what kind of redundancies or backup systems does the national grid have to prevent or either mitigate grid collapses? Did these systems fail at any point?
Well, the system is not robust at all. It's weak. The system does not have the kind of redundancy a power system we have. And and that's very nice you mentioned redundancy. That's something that has to be worked upon. And that's investment. A lot of investment has to go into the power system for that to happen. So there is lack or minimal amount of redundancy. So far, not enough to cause grid stability. The network is weak, as I said. The amount of generation we have compared to the demand or the population is so meager. That notwithstanding, there is no proper coordination of protection systems in that network. And the network for now is too large. It has to be decentralized. It has been, because the Electricity Act already allows the decentralization of the power network. And that's the only way we can survive, in my opinion. But for the grid collapse that we have now, there are technologies now being just recently available to power engineers that can really help the Nigerian power grid. And we have pushed this to those who are in charge of the power system in Nigeria. It's left for them to implement this. Like I've said earlier on, there are technologies now using sustainable electricity systems, renewable energy systems, that we have explained to them that this is how you will resolve grid collapse, and they will really work. They haven't been available before, but they are now available in the last 8 to 12 months.
Are they available in Nigeria?
We made a proposal to bring it into Nigeria, but we have not heard from from the appropriate quarters, but nonetheless, they are available worldwide and we can deploy them quickly to forestall this situation of grid collapse permanently. And that will be a legacy for whoever does that. Whoever resolves power issue in Nigeria is setting him or herself for a legacy.
All right, so you're saying that, the grid is actually weak at the moment and we need this technology. But who is to say that, if we end up, having these technology or this technology, that the grid will be reinforced to ensure reliability, in the system?
The first thing you do is to ensure that your investments or reinforcements, as you put them, are based on power system studies. Power systems, for example, in the UK, where I've been trained, is basically principally done by system studies. You don't just put things anywhere. But what we have in the reinforcement programs going on on that network is a series of putting things here and there, not minding where the load is. So you really need to do system studies. That's the first thing. And after that, you put this technology, you put these devices I'm recommending and proposing in the appropriate places. I have done the network study. I've looked at those places, the weak points and what you have to do. So it's the implementation of this that is required. But more than that, you need to have an end-to-end view of the power sector. You have to start from the source of the fuel, then through the gas power plant, because we have predominantly gas, then through the networks, and then the consumers. You have to make sure that you obey the Electricity Act, you implement the Electricity Act fully, because that is the saving grace of Nigeria.
Okay. Now, just before we let you go, do you have an idea of when we should expect electricity or power to be restored?
Normally, restoration is always done within a day or two, and I'm surprised if not for the second collapse we had today, it will have been resolved by now. Hopefully tomorrow we should have power restored. But I must say, in any power system, for you to have a power system like that of the UK, the US, Canada, China, and the rest of the Western world, you've got to put meritocracy in place, you have to put pragmatism in place, and you have to do it the way they do it there. You cannot have a power system based on I know you or quota system or things like that. A power system will remain non-functional if you put all those things. Meritocracy is key. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Idowu, for speaking to us on this.
You're welcome.